Hi there, my name is Stephanie Clark. I'm a psychiatric nurse practitioner. Thank you for joining me in this video. I'm going to be teaching you a coping skill that you can use anytime when you are struggling with feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or irritable. The skill is called Emotional Freedom Technique, EFT for short. It's also called tapping. And tapping involves just using our hands and tapping on acupressure points that we have on our body. And I know it can look a little different if you've never seen it before, but these acupressure points have a direct connection to our nervous system. And when we tap on these points, it helps our body calm down. It sends a calming signal to our nervous system. So the exercise that I'll be teaching you now is called Tap and Breathe. It involves tapping these points while we're taking 1 or 2 deep breaths at each point. So let me show you the points before we get started so that you're familiar with those. The first one is the karate chop point, so it's on the side of the hand. Then we have a point on the top of our head, and I know that looks a little silly, but this is called the crown point. Then there's 3 points around the eyes. There's the eyebrow, side of the eye, under the eye, then we have under the nose, on the chin, collarbone, which is anywhere along here, or you can make a C shape with your hand here and go like this. And then the last point is under the arm, a few inches under your armpit. Let me walk you through the technique, and then I'll say a little bit more about it when we're done. This is one of those techniques that you need to experience to get the full effect. So before we start, tune into your body and notice where you're carrying tension. That could be in your chest, in your jaw or neck. So just where you're feeling stress, and guess a number on a 0 to 10 scale. 10 would be the most intense it's ever felt, and 0 is none. And then when you have your number, let's go ahead and get started. And just start tapping here on the side of the hand. And as we're tapping, we're going to be doing deep breathing. And at any point, if you start to feel dizzy or lightheaded, just breathe normally for a few counts, and then you can jump back in. So only do what feels comfortable to your body. And do know by participating in this activity, you're taking responsibility for your own well-being. You know your body best, so do what feels comfortable to you. All right, so we're on the side of the hand, and we're going to start. We're just doing 2 deep breaths. And we're going to move on to that crown point. 1 or 2 breaths here. Now we're on the eyebrow, and 1 hand or 2. And then side of the eye. And under the eye. Remember, breathe normally if needed. Then we're under the nose. On the chin. Collarbone. And then under the arm. One more deep breath here. Then you can just stretch that out or shake it out when you're done. And then tune back into your body. Notice where you were carrying tension or stress before and give it a new number now. So see if it's better, worse, the same, if anything feels like it's moved. And hopefully you noticed a difference. I tell people when they're learning tapping for the first time, if you don't notice a huge change or it even feels worse maybe, that's okay. When we're learning a new coping skill, and especially we're tapping, it just looks a little different than what you might be used to. It's normal for our brain to be a little distracted, thinking thoughts like, what is this? Am I doing it right? This looks weird. And so as you get more familiar with the skill and practice it and learn the acupressure points, your nervous system gains trust in it, gets more familiar with it, and I think you'll notice even more of a difference. So if you noticed any shift there at all, that's a really positive thing. A couple things about tapping. So as we're tapping on these acupressure points, we're engaging the parasympathetic nervous system, and that's the calming part of our nervous system. The opposite of that is the sympathetic or fight or flight part of our nervous system. And when we're anxious and irritable and reactive, a lot of time that fight or flight is turned way up. And in our society, in our day-to-day life, there's so many things coming at us, vying for our attention, little stressors that add up, that fight or flight can get turned up really high, and that contributes to irritability. So I think a great place to start is something that's very body-based for a coping skill, to see if we can just turn that down a little. I think of it like a dial on a stove. Just turn that down a little to where we can feel like we have a little more space. And from that point, determine what we want to do next. And when we're acting in that way, we're responding to what's going on rather than being reactive. So hopefully that's helpful. The video, this video that's in the email, you are welcome to respond to the email if you have any questions about this video, about tapping. Feel free to just hit reply and shoot that question over to me. It really is me that will be looking at that. And or just let me know how it went. If you are practicing tapping and you feel like it's making a really positive difference, I would love to hear that. Again, it's something to practice day to day. You want to really have this ready to go when you need it. And if we wait to practice it till we're feeling extremely overwhelmed, that's not generally the time that our brain wants to learn anything new. So please give this a try. Like you saw, if we just do a couple of deep breaths and we go through one round of tapping, you can do that in less than a minute probably. And you are welcome to do more than one round. If that felt good and you have more time, go as long as you want. There's nothing like, okay, you need to tap 5 times and move on. I think it's nice to do the breathing because then it does give you a cue after 1 or 2 breaths, then you can move on. But really, as long as you're breathing and tapping, that's benefiting your body. So thank you for giving this a try and let me know what you think of it. Take care.